Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Srivatsangam Mahoraskam, Vanamala Virajidam, Shankachakradharam Devam, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Om Shri Partha Sarade Namaha. I bow to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe. I bow to the charioteer of Arjuna. And I bow to all these noble souls who have come here this morning. So without further this thing, let us start on our chapter 17, Shraddha Her Bhagavad Yoga. But before we go into that, let us just to remind you, let us go to chapter 14. Chapter 14 is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. And in there he mentions about the gunas. Now this is a very important aspect of our life, because if, as Advaita says, that everything is, we are all part of that divine, then, and the human body plus the divine, how is it all of us not the same? We should all be exactly the same. But what is it makes this difference? The difference lies in the gunas of Prakriti. Nature has 3 qualitative strands. They are not quantitative, they are qualitative. Qualitative strands called Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Now these, admixture of these in the human personality is what makes each of us different. Otherwise we'd all be exactly the same, clones as it were. But we are all, each one is unique personality due to this admixture of these 3 gunas. Now what exactly are these 3 gunas? Let's find out. Are there anything that we can cling on to find out what it is all about? Yes, physics has the same thing. Physics actually says that there are 3 qualitative systems actually which come into play in everything. What is that? First there is kinesis. Kinesis is activity. On the opposite side we have inertia. That is total inactivity. But only if these 2 existed, there will be a terrible pull all the time. But there is the harmonious principle called principle of harmony in between. This is exactly what 3 gunas are. Rajas is that quality of kinesis, activity, action, passion. And on the opposite side you have the tamas, which is inertia, laziness, dullness, sleep, sloth. And in between, the connection system between the 2 is sattva, is harmony or beauty. Now, Hinduism has an amazing ability to cloak scientific ideas with beautiful stories. So to connect these, to make the ordinary person understand what this is all about, we have the 3 Trinity in Hinduism: Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Brahma is the quality of Rajas. Activity, creation. He is the creator. On the opposite side is Maheshwara, who is death, destruction and darkness. In between you have Vishnu, the harmonizer, beauty, auspiciousness, everything in between the 2. So this is how these, actually Hinduism, every single thing we have in Hinduism is actually based on very high scientific ideas which are only now coming into the Western mind. Obviously the rishis knew all about them, but because at that time, and even at this time, we find it difficult to understand what these scientific theses are about. So they made these beautiful stories about gods and goddesses and this, which allowed the human mind to just appreciate these stories and go according to that. And that life was not a religion as such, it was a way of life, a way of living, which was interwoven into the lives of every single soul. So that by following that standard of living, we automatically evolved. So that is the greatness of the Sanatana Dharma. So these three gunas, I said, they are qualitative, not quantitative, because everything according to us proceeds from the subtle to the gross, not from the gross to the subtle as Westerners seem to think. Everything comes from the subtle to the gross. Everything comes from that sound alone, sound of Om. We will take that at the end of this class. So that slowly becomes concretized until we see it with gross perception as solid matter. We see it as solid matter. But is that solid matter? Again, the rishis told us, no, it is all Maya. What did they mean by Maya? And we thought, oh, stupid, why are they saying that? Of course it's not. I can see this is a table, this is you, I can see all this. Today, quantum physics is asserting the same thing which the rishis told us before. What do they say? What do they say? That matter is only energy in motion. It is not a quantitative thing. There is not a... It is only energy in motion. That's exactly what the rishis said when they said it is Maya. And when they said it, we didn't... oh, yes, stupid people, they don't know nothing about it. But scientists are saying this. But we say, oh, perhaps it's true then. But even now, even in this modern age, we find it difficult to believe. But the fact is that the mind creates a world for you which actually does not exist in reality. That world which you think you are seeing and touching and feeling is something made by the five senses and together with the mind, which actually does not exist. This is a very amazing thing which even now, I could go on with this actually. I've done 2 blogs on Maya, which is very interesting. If you like, you can read about it in our weeklies. But we won't go into that now because I'm sure you all want me to stick to the program, which I never do anyway. So now let's come back to the gunas. So these are from the 14th chapter itself. He says, these gunas are the thing that which bind this immortal, imperceptible, eternal being to this small mortal little space-time capsule called the body. So how is that? This is a very strange thing. That is what is called Maya. We don't know how it's done. It is a very amazing thing by nature, just gathers up and ties us up into a bundle in a little cocoon called this body and make us think this is me. But who are you really? This is not you. You are something totally different. And the gunas are the things which play this great part in this Maya. So now we come to the 17th chapter, which is actually a follow-up from the 14th. That is, he said this is called Shraddhatra Vibhaga Yoga. So then the 16th chapter ends with saying that, Arjuna, if you can't know anything by yourself, the best thing for you to do is to follow the Shastra. Shastras will tell you what you... And we have hundreds and thousands of Shastras. Not just one Bible or one Quran. We have hundreds of them. So you are welcome to choose whatever Shastra you want to go. Choose and then you can follow that. But then there rises a question in Arjuna's mind. Supposing somebody doesn't know the Shastras. Supposing somebody doesn't... even if they do know the Shastras, when they are met with a problematic situation, do you run to the Bhagavad Gita and turn to chapters and open it and say, let's see, how should I react? Of course not. You react. Automatically you react. What is the basis of that? Is that good or bad is his question. But again, Bhagavan brings him back to the 3 gunas. He says even that depends on how each person reacts or responds maybe. Either reaction or responding. Either way, it depends entirely on which guna is most prevalent in him. Because gunas, another thing is that it's not that these gunas are only one person is totally sattvic, one person is totally something, one person is totally rajasic. No. They are interwoven all the time. There is a combination, permutation all the time going on. And a sattvic man can also sometimes be very tamasic because he feels sleepy, he was lazy, he doesn't want to do anything. Similarly, a rajasic man also can be sometimes. So these are all like, they say strands of a plait. Three strands here. They are interwoven like that all the time. One comes to the top, then the other one, then the other one, then the other one. So it's a beautiful game played by nature, and we unfortunately totally fall in with that game, and that's why from the beginning, second chapter itself, Nistraygunya Bhava, he tells Arjuna, go beyond the gunas. Easier said than done, because we are totally intertwined in that. So Arjuna's question is, on what basis how do we act without, even if we have no access to the Shastras, what is the way we should act? So Bhagavan says, again he gives a very, as I said, a very little twisty answer. He says that would depend on his Shraddha. Whatever Shraddha he has. What is his Shraddha then? Your Shraddha is that which has made you into the personality you are now. It is the background of all the things that you've learned from your parents, from the society, from the religion, from the community, from all the WhatsApp matters also which is going on every day, and so much of media which is going on, which you believe or not believe. That is what has made you into what you are. Your Shraddha is that. If Shraddha is something which you have believe, oh yes, this is exactly how it is done and should not be done any other way, you will immediately react in that fashion. So he says, each one Shraddha also actually is connected with the gunas. So then now action, as you know, all action here said, action is something which binds us. But can we stop from acting? No. We have to act. We have to act. Sharira yatra bhisade. Even for the journey of the body from birth to death, some action has to be done. Because otherwise we can't, unless you live in a place like Rishikesh where you can go from ashram to ashram and they will feed you and clothe you and everything. Otherwise we have to work for our living to make something for us. Even to eat, we have to do some work. So then, there are three things, he says. Three actions which are compulsory on every human being. They are compulsory. What are they? Yajna, Dana and tapas. Yajna, Dana and tapas. These three, whatever other actions you leave, but these three are compulsory on every human being. And what does it mean? Actually, this takes in the gamut of the whole of your life actually. Your whole life is bound up in these three. Yajna, Dana and tapas. Yajna is the duty you owe to the gods. You have a duty to the gods, the divine, the divinity. Whether you deny God or you deny everything, the fact is there is some unseen factor which is working in our lives. That's the fifth factor which Bhagavan mentions here. Daivasya Panjamam. That unseen factor is ever present in every action you do. So actually, because we don't see that, but we have a level there. Hinduism calls many logas are there. They say logas, some higher up. What are these logas? These are actually astral worlds, and they're very actually close to us, and they can be contacted depending on our personality. If you want to contact them, they will come to you. Otherwise, they will carry on their own way. They won't bother. So that's why I don't want to go to that. He's already said how in the Rakshasic way they will approach the type of worship of those who are Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. He's already said. When we approach that astral world in a very Sattvic fashion, the Devas are drawn into your orbit. When you approach it in a Rajasic and fashion in order to hurt others, those other Rakshasas and things are drawn into your orbit. When you do it in a very tamasic fashion, things like ghosts and pretas and buddhas are drawn into your orbit. So how they won't harm you otherwise. They carry on their own work. But when you have that, when your gunas are different and your personality changes and you approach them in order to get something or other, then that type of being will come into your orbit. Because they're always there. The astral world is always there. That's something we have to understand. So then, so one is yajna. Some offering to the divinities you have to make, because they are always there. Some offering has to be made to these divinities. That is yajna. It can be puja, it can be reading of scriptures, it can be doing anything which approach that type of, or rituals or anything. So yajna is that which is compulsory on every human being in order to attach oneself to the divinity which will help you. If you approach it, it will help you. So that divinity which you are worshipping, that you owe a duty. Something, in some way, in some form, that is called yajna. Then second, you also owe a duty to the society you live in. That duty is called dana. You owe a duty to that society supporting you, whether you want or not, whether you think you are independent. Oh, I can do everything by myself. I am independent. How independent are you? Let me ask you. What independence you have? Even take a cup of tea which you are having. Do you know the number of people who have gone into the making of that cup of tea? Starting from the tea, the planters of the tea plants in Darjeeling or whatever it was made. Just think about the amount of people who have helped to make that cup of tea for you. So there is some duty you owe to the society which is supporting you. The society is supporting you in some way or other, and therefore you have a duty to support that society in the best way, in as much a way as you can possibly do. Understand? That is dana. So yajna, dana. Then what is your third duty? Your third duty to yourself. You have a duty to yourself. You have a duty to see that the body is kept perfectly fit and this thing as long as it lives. You have a duty to see that everything related with this, your mind, your body, your intellect, everything is kept at peak form. Because without that, you are nothing. If you yourself are ill and constantly in trouble and mentally upset, then how can you help anyone else? You neither help yourself, nor you help the society, you can't. So you have a duty to yourself. That is known as tapas, austerity of the body, mind and intellect. That austerity is a thing which you have to practice yourself, because that is what keeps this machine working. It is a very compulsive. Many people say, I don't have time to do things for myself. I'm so busy doing social work. How long will you go on? The engine has to be cracked up. Even in a ordinary engine, you have to do something or other. So you have a duty to the divinities which are supporting you all the time. You have a duty to that society which is supporting you all the time. And thirdly, you have a duty to yourself. You have to see that you are fit and correct form. So yajna, dana, tapas is a compulsive on every human being. Even you are sannyasi or your householder or brahmachari or whatever you are, whatever ashrama you are in, you still have these three are compulsive, is what Bhagavan says very, very strongly. When it was said that all action will help you, will only lead you astray, he said no. These three have to be followed by all three. So that is what he has already said in this. What is the shraddha with which you do? Dana, which is shraddha with you, yajna, the shraddha with which you do tapas. These have been said. Now we are going into this. So he's already said how we don't have to anudeksha, swadhyam, manat prasad. Where are we now? 20 mura. Now before that, the tapas. We have come to tapas in this. At last I have come to the actual subject. I'm sorry, but I think it is very necessary that you have an overall picture of the whole thing, because otherwise just a little bit here and there is not going to help you. So what are the types of tapas? He has already said So there again, this tapas also, yajna, dana and tapas, all colored by the three gunas. Even if it's yajna, even if it's tapas, even if it's dana, all are colored again by the three gunas. The type of yajna you do, the type of dana you do, the type of tapas you do will again depend on the type of guna, which is Shraddhya Parayotaptam Tapasatvidam Dhara. Abhala Kankshibir Yuktai Satvigam Parichakshade Satkara Mana Pujatam Tabodhambena Shaivaya Kriyade Tadihat Proktam Rajasam Jalamudram. So, what is that? So, that tapas which is done as a austerity without any outward show orientation, or that is, we have already taken that before in your previous thing. That is known as sattvic. You are not doing. Whereas the rajasic tapas is what sort of tapas it is? It is just ostentation. Oh, this so and so does about 12 hours of meditation, and he stands on his head for another 2 hours, and so on. All this type of thing only for ostentation, and that is called as rajasic tapas. People are doing all these is only as a way of rajasic people only do as an ostentation. Even even then they do get something out of it. For instance, even the Rakshasas and Asuras, they very ostentatious tapas, like Ravana, for instance. He was a great soul. He stood on his, cut off one head after the other, which is all according to him, which is something which you are hurting that divine in you, but they torture the body in order to wrest some wound from that divinity. So that is also, but that is known as tapasic this thing. So, and what about now? Today we are coming to the tamasic text. Mudagrahenatmano yat pidaya kriyadev tabaha parasya sadanartam ma tattamas udahridam. So this, the tamasic always is, actually the intellect is very poor. The tamasic individual, first of all, the intellect is poor. So they have caught on always at the wrong end of the stick, as it were. So they think, if by torturing the body like this, now the stick is not only that, but these tamasic also, in some places in India especially, you find people lying on a bed of nails and all that. And then another point, holding the arm up for many, after some time you can't bring it down. Now all this is supposed to be tapas of their body, tapas. But what is that? How does it help anyone? Except that people will put money in their box. They keep a box also. Even though they're lying on a bed of nails, they keep a box. So that is meant only for that. It's not, it's a totally distorted way of Yapoda Prana, Pidaya Priyade Tabaha. Very, very, it's a very difficult method they're doing tapas. And Parasya Asanartam va Tattamasa. It is sometimes also done to hurt another person. They go to the tantra and these what do you call black magic? I don't know. It's very, I think, common here also. They'll go to such lower type of people and they will invoke these. I told you the astral world, there are many types. They will invoke those in order to hurt another person. They want some harm to come to their enemies. This is the typical tamasic yajna. Dadavyamidi, now we come to Dhanam. The three types of I told you the three, yajna, dana, tapas. It's very, very important. So here. Dadavyamidi taddanam, diyade nabhakarine, deshe kalecha patecha, taddanam satvikam sudha. What is the correct type of dana? We all think charity, they're doing charity, a lot of charity they're doing, so good. But again he says that whether it's good or not depends on the sattvic, rajasic or tamasic idea behind it. So, the Adavyamadi Adhana, he who gives a charity because it is his duty to give that, he loves to give charity, he does that, without any desire that I must get something from that. Now, very often all of do, we'll come to that next. But this sattvic donor will give anything without, in fact, it is said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is giving even. You should never keep a big, I always give, always, whenever I see something, I always give something. And I have a big charitable thing also. These things, the people, they keep on saying all this. That is not sattvic. Sattvic dana, sattvic donor will not mention a word to anything. He does it as an offering actually to the divine. Because from the beginning it's been said, any action which is done as a yajna, even dana is done as a yajna. How does it become dana become yajna? When it is done as an offering to that divine which is in that person. It is not done for one's own sake. It's not done even for that person. It is done as an offering to that divine which is lodged in that person. So that, in that case, the dana also is a yajna. In fact, as he said in the second chapter, fourth chapter also, every action should be done as a yajna. By yajna itself, the whole of creation was created. Prajapati, Prajapati, he srishted, he created all of us as a yajna. In fact, the Purusha Sukta says, the Purusha himself, from him himself all this whole creation. He himself took out everything from himself. He himself was a yajna, that's why he's called yajna Purusha. He himself gave up himself in order to create this world. Meaning to say, what does it mean? That means everything in this world is that and that alone, is all divinity alone. So this sattvic donor does everything. The dana is also a yajna. Dana is also an offering to that divine in that. Tadavyamadi yaddanam diyade anubhakarine. Deshe kale chapate taddanam. This is a very important. Deshe kale chapate. With due regard to the time, the place and the donor. Now you may think, why should, some people do actually, can't I just simply give? Why does Bhagavan say you should check on the time, place and the donor, the recipient, whether he's the correct one or not? Because you can simply give, sometimes, you can try and give. When I was very small, I don't know, I was told, you would give me some coins and I was told to go around in the temple and give. Once I ran after one old lady looked very well. I gave one. She looked at me and said, who do you think I am? I come from the one big family and all that. I don't need It's a pathraja. You must know whom to give, what to give, what time to give and which place to give. Now the same person, if they are in a very difficult time, they are passing through a difficult time, and you that at time you go and give something, please, I think you are, and give. He'll be so grateful because at that time they needed that money desperately, and you've gone and helped them. If not money, something else. Now again, that same person, if that deshe kale, not only the deshe now is correct, but kale and deshe. Now, supposing somebody would like something like that, but you are giving at that time. At that time, that man has got a bad news that his son has died or his father has died. At that time, you say, have this lollipop, some little ice cream or something. What? Come and have dinner with me. It's very good. What nonsense is this? A time to give a dinner or this? Is that the way to make this man happy? He's in a very sad state, isn't it? So, deshe, kale, chapate, these three are very important. The time of giving, the place of giving, and the person to whom you are giving. This is why he says that. And a lot of people ask me, why can't we just give freely? You can, no problem. But the fact is, the best sattvic type of giving dana is when you check on the person, is he at the correct time, the correct place, and the correct person. Then that dana gives you, it is a yajna again. It's a yajna. It is a beautiful offering to that divine. So this is very important, which people don't understand, that this is very important, that we should check on the person, because again you might give it to, you have money, you just give it to anyone. It's not true. If you want that to be correctly used, it's best to check on, do they need it? Is that the correct time for them to have it? Is that the correct place which I should give it? If all three are there, that is a sattvic dana. दातव्यमिति प्रोक्तं यद्दानं दीयते अनुभागिने देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं सुदम् Yattu Bhattugarartham Bhalamudisha Vapanaha Diyadecha Pariklishtam Taddanam Rajasam Smridam. Now, this man has a lot of money. Now you're going to him and say, please, this blind association or something, and then you have to really twist his arm to get some money out of him. He can easily afford it, but he is not interested. With great difficulty, after a lot of pressure put on him, he will say, Pratyabhadartham phalamudisha vapanaha riyadecha pariklishtam taddan. With great difficulty, Parikrishna, with great difficulty that you can squeeze some money out of this man. Or he will give very happily. When he knows that he is going to get something, if he gives 10, he knows he will get 100. Something, expectation of something or other he is going to get from that person. Then he will give very happily. This is the typical Rajasic. This is all the usual Vaishya mentality of the businessmen. They want, of course, that nothing wrong with getting something in return. That's not what meaning. But when the dana is done only with a view to what you get out of it, then that dana loses its beauty and this thing, and that is known as the Rajasic dana. Adeshakale yaddanam apatrebhyasya diyade asatkrit avatnyadam tattamasudahridam. Now this chap who is totally idiotic and totally everything, as I said, he will go and see a dying man. Look, come, I'll take you to the best restaurant in town. Let us go. If you eat something, you will feel better. It is all nonsense. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He'll give it at the worst time, to the worst place, to the person who is totally incapable of accepting it, and to a person who doesn't need it at all. Such a person, like very often, most of our gifts which we give during, say, Diwali and all that, it's Christmas, it's all a kind of business. You give something to them, they give something. And who are you giving it to? People who are very wealthy, who just don't need, they will just keep it and give it to the next person. Because how much so this is very often, most of us have this sort of thing. Most of the things we are doing, totally unnecessary to people who undeserving, who have too much of their own. But many of our festivals you will find, instead of that, if you spend that much of money going to a poor people's home, or go around in a car or something, giving to beggars. I don't know whether beggars here, but anyway, if whatever, I'm sure there may charitable places around here. So if you give it in the correct time and place, that is considered sattvic. But if you give it at the wrong place, the wrong person with the wrong intention, that becomes adeshakale yaddanam apatebhyasya diyade asatkrita bhaktyadam tattamasudahridam. Such is this thing. Most of we give it to people who are totally, and we have huge Diwali parties and this and that. Those who have already, and what about weddings also? Who are you? Most of the time you're feeding these people who really don't need at all. That money, if you can spend it giving some food to poor people, how much better off it will be. So this is very, very applicable to most of us. That type of tamas is tamasic. Also, another thing is that you are giving bribes are a very good example of tamasic dana. Dana you're giving after all. I gave dana to whom? That man, that officer told me, you just put 5 lakhs under this thing and he will get it all passed. This is typical in India. It's very, very typical, I'm sorry to say. That is a typical, you're giving, I'm giving. To whom and for what? That is the question. So that tamasam udaharanam. Bribes are a typical. It is a curse to the person who receives it and the curse to the person who gives it, for both. So that is the thing. Now he has finished that whole aspect of every aspect. All yajna, dana and tapas. All three are absolutely necessary for every human being to do. Yet all three are colored by sattva, rajas and tamas. So each of these you have to go through this and find out, you analyze your own motivation of all the things you're doing or you've done or you're going to do at least. What you've done is finished, you can't do anything. But at least that those things you are going to do, please go revert to this, because it's a very beautiful method of life, of living that he has said. Yajna, dana, tapa, which everybody has to do how they should be done. He gives very clear instructions. The Gita should not just be repeated, recited ad nauseum. It should be practiced in your daily life. That is the most important thing of the Gita. It is a practical guide to daily life. It is not just Brahma Shastra, it is also Yoga Shastra. It is not just not the explanation of what the divine is, but it is also immediately every chapter ends with that colophon. Brahmatyana as well as Yoga Shastra, immediate. What is the use of all the knowledge you have? You may be a great knowledge of so many things you have, but if you don't know how to put it into practice, it is useless for you, which is 99% of the education we give our children belongs to them. What use? They learn all sorts of rubbish in their school. They have to learn Spanish and this thing and French and God knows what all they learn. Is any of that going to help them in their life afterwards? That British education system is a very, very, very foolish system, and it is still unfortunately conducted even now by all of us and this thing. And so that Gita itself says metaphysical knowledge is given. Why? Only if it can be put into utilitarian practice in our daily life. Only then it is to be accepted. That is the greatness of our religion, that everything we are taught in our Shastras have to be enacted, and you should act it out in your own life, because of which you will automatically evolve. Now the very famous this thing ends with Om Tats Nirdesho Brahmanastri Vedasmridaha Brahmanastena Vedasya Yajnasya Vihidapura Tasmado Mityadartam Yajnadanata Vakriyaha Pravartande Vidanokta Sadam Brahmavadinam. So he says, Om Tats Sad. These are the triple words which denote the divine in all its aspects. Om stands for that Shabda Brahma, which is inclusive of everything that you can be. Inclusive, it's an inclusiveness. Om. Then Tat, what is that? You know, in the Upanishad, this thing, Tattvamasi is one of the Upanishad's Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi. What is that? Tattvamasi, he will show like this. He won't show like this, he shows like this. Tat, what is that? That Tat which you think is so far away from you. That greatness, that Brahman which you think so far away from you, which is also inclusive of everything. That is in you. Tat Tvamasi. You are that. You yourself are that Tat. Tat Asi. Asi, me. That is it. I am that. That is the reality. That is existence. That only alone is existence. Everything else is Maya. That alone is true existence. So Om Tat Sat. These are the triple gates to heaven, you might say. Triple method, because that includes the whole of the idea of the divinity which is enfolding everything else. The divinity is there, which also divinity is in you. So that these three are said. He says with these three words, all the Brahmins and the Vedas and the Yajnas all started with that. And at every starting of every ritual, of every reading of everything, we start with the word Om Tat Sat. And at the end also we start with the Om Tat Sat. So these are the very important three words which is inclusive, because this is one thing that is meant to make you understand that the divinity is everything and everywhere, and whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you know, whatever you smell, hear, anything, that is divinity alone. That idea, if that is your Shraddha, if that is the Shraddha of every human being, then you have gone beyond the three gunas. You have gone beyond the three gunas, because the three gunas are only the nature's qualitative ways of enfolding us. If you can go beyond that, if you know that idea, that Om Tat Sat, that idea that everything which is inclusive is that divine and divine and divine alone, if that is a Shraddha which is making you act, then you are neither, you have gone beyond the 3 gunas. You are on a level with that, you are already become divine, I should say. So that is why this 3 is said before the start of a ritual, at the end of a ritual, before start of a puja, end of a puja, because to remind us that there is nothing but the divine. Everything is divine and divinity alone. And that should be our Shraddha. Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. That Shraddha, as I said, is gone beyond the 3 gunas. Tadityabhisneha phalam yatya tabakriya dana kriyasya vividha kriyade mokshakangshabhi. So this is that idea, if anything, mokshakangshabhi, those who want moksha, those who want liberation, if that idea is behind in everything that they do, they will automatically go up to that, to liberation or moksha. Is that the end of it? Is that what I'm supposed to say about this? I'm finished? Is there more? Oh. Dana kriya sividyakankshu. Sadbhave sadhubhave cha sadityate pravuchyate prashaste karmani tada yat satcham tapartha vichyate. So, Sat is that existence, the only existence. Sat is that existence. So, sadbhave sadhubhave cha, that existence alone exists. There is no other existence except that. Sat, which is said, what is the qualification of threefold qualification of Brahman? That is Sat, Chit, Ananda. So that only existence, pure existence, because we all exist because it exists. If it did not exist, there will be no existence on this world. Then again, it is pure consciousness, pure Chit, pure consciousness. If all of us are conscious of something, it's because it is pure consciousness. Because that exists as pure consciousness, we exist and we have some consciousness. So that is a threefold definition of the Brahma, Sat, Chit, Ananda, and that is that Om Tat Sat. That is the only thing which exists, and that should be your Shraddha, that divinity alone exists everywhere. If with that Shraddha you do any action, that will take you beyond the gunas, is the main idea behind this chapter. Hari Om Tat Sat. Now do we have time for questions, I wonder?
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. Dear Mataji, yes, we will now do the question and answer session.
Oh, we have? Okay.
Okay. Dear devotees of the Lord, you're most welcome to give out your questions to Mataji and she will answer you all accordingly. You may come in front to pick up the mic.
Yeah.
Any devotees, you have any questions to ask Mataji? She will answer you.
Yeah?
You're most welcome to ask her.
Can I just ask something?
Yeah, sure.
You were saying about Dharma. You give the right place, right time, right person, without expecting anything back from that person. But at the back of your mind, you have that thought. Whatever blessing, definitely that person will feel thankful. Whatever blessing, let it go to my family. Is that sattvic?
Well, you see, the fact is, what is wrong there is that you need not accept the blessing. It's an automatic thing.
Okay.
As you give, so you get. Whatever is there, like a ball bouncing back at you. When you do such a thing without expectation, or you don't have to ask for blessing. You don't have Kripana Bhala as Bhagavan says. Kripana. He who asks for something in return is a very, very miserable little man. Kripana. Because why? It is automatic. Like asking, Ma, can you give me something? You don't have to beg your mother for that. Automatically she knows what is right for you, what is good for you, and she will give it to you. You have to beg her for it. Similarly, why bother to beg? Do what is told to do. You do it as an offering to that divine. Automatically it bounces back to you. You don't have to bother with it. Okay? Yeah.
Anyone else? You're most welcome to ask. We've got a few minutes to us. Any questions that comes across your mind, you're most welcome to ask Mataji.
It need not be on this. Any other thing on the Gita also. I'm happy
It need
to
not
answer.
be on the verses of today. You have anything else to ask? You're most welcome.
Sorry, it doesn't pertain to today's verses, but just a general question. Normally when a devotee goes to the Lord and they pray, and then they do ask, so and so is unwell. And Bhagavan does say that you do come to me when you're in distress and wealth, etc. So, what's your comment on that, Mataji? Because I come to Sri Krishna, I say, Krishna, so and so is unwell, can you please help? So we do that. So, like you said, don't ask, but naturally we ask Bhagavan, please help.
No, don't ask for yourself, but we are asking for somebody else. That is not
I'm sick.
You are doing it for somebody else.
But what if I say, I am sick, please help me?
Huh?
What if I say, I am sick, please help me?
He will understand. You're all children here. We are all children on the path. Will the mother not understand? My finger is aching, Ma. Please do something. He's like that. She will definitely understand. Don't worry about such things. Okay, he's a ocean of compassion. Karuna sagar hai. कैसे नहीं सुनते हैं हम अपना हृदय में क्या है उनको मालूम है ना. Omniscient he is. You don't have to ask, but we are because of the frailty of a human instinct, we ask. He will understand. Don't worry. If so long as this thing is not a, absolutely selfish desire, this is definitely he will understand. That is the greatest of compassion. He is, as I said, he is full of compassion. Definitely he will understand. Okay. Yeah. Men are always very satisfied. They never have any doubts. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about being. We call human being. What we don't address as like in the animal kingdom, tiger being or dog being. The word being is something.
What did you? I didn't follow. What then?
No. What do we address ourselves as human being? We don't address the animal kingdom like dogs.
Okay. Because maybe we doubt that we are really humans. We don't act like humans. The animals always act like they are supposed to act. So humans should act like human beings. Maybe because of that, because it's a way of the English language. Maybe the paucity of the English language. We don't say it in Hindi. What we say? We don't say we are human beings. In Hindi, what do we say? Insan hai, that's all. But the English language says we are human beings. Because maybe the human being is the only one who doesn't really act according to as a human being should act. Animals act according to their own, they're conditioned, you see. They can't act in any other way. Human beings have, unfortunately or fortunately, we have reasoning power, ability, choice, logical and reasoning, and we choose. And therefore, if we choose the wrong thing, unfortunately we go down the scale. Choose the right thing, we go up. Only we have that power. So only we have the ability to become divine also, as well as to become asuric also. Only we. Animals don't have that power. That's why they say to get a human birth is a very great thing. Because only in the human birth we can get liberation. Even it is very important to get a human birth, Manushyattam, Mumukshatam, and Sarva Shreshta, something I forget the last word, get a human body and the desirable Mumukshatam, desirable liberation. Only in the human being we can find that. So, I don't know why in the English language says human being. Maybe as I said, we should get more of humanity in us. Animals don't need any more animality. They are already animals. They can't be anything more or less than what they are.
But there is soul in the animals as well. I mean, there are all sorts of animals. There is a soul. There's Atman in them as well.
Atman is there, of course. They always, everything has. That is what makes them conscious. That's what makes them existent. But they have no choice. They're conditioned. You can never say tiger is brutal. No, we may say it, but it's not true. Tiger is a tiger. His duty is to kill and eat. We kill without necessity. We are the only people who kill without necessity, and we kill our own people also. And we kill in order to, for tiny little bit of pleasure that we might get in our mouth for 2 seconds. We are prepared to massacre countless number of chickens and goats and calves and whatever, just for this. No other animal does that. So only we can be judged for good and wrong. Morality is applicable only to the human being. Morality is not applicable to the animal kingdom.
Yeah. Pranam Mataji.
Huh?
I wish to know the meaning of Hanuman Chalisa in short. Actually, I heard from someone the whole Ramcharitmanas and the Ramayana is inside the Hanuman Chalisa. So I just want to know this in short, what's the meaning of Hanuman Chalisa?
See, actually, Tulsidas is supposed to have done that when he was incarcerated in the, I think, Akbar incarcerated him in the dungeon, and he's supposed to have said this, and at the end of it, when they tried to get him out, they found that they had to let him out because monkeys galore came all over and crowded. So it's a very powerful mantra. Exactly how it works, I'm afraid I'm not an expert on the Chalisa to tell you that, but it's supposed to be a very powerful mantra. And Tulsidas himself said that the recitation of this mantra will give you a lot of power, will enable you to do things which you might not usually be able to do, because you are invoking the power of this great Vyakti called Hanuman. What you see, he's an amazing, he's still alive. We don't even celebrate we don't say Hanuman Jayanti actually. We say Hanuman Mahotsav because he's still alive. Hanuman Mahotsav is what we celebrate. And his power, where is his power? He's not a monkey, he's a Vanara. Never at any time does Valmiki, in Sanskrit, monkey is Kapi. He never calls Kapi. He always says Vanara. So Vanaras were a special group of, at that time, a special group of, you know how peoples are evolved. So Vanara was a special type of human beings actually, just below the human being this thing. So and out of that, this Vanara, even though ordinary Vanara he was, how did he become so great? The answer is only through his bhakti. His Shakti came only from his bhakti. Similarly, even though we are poor, unlettered, untutored, we may not do anything, yet we also can become very strong like him if we have that bhakti. He could do things which Rama himself could not do. Rama himself could not, what he could not do, Hanuman could achieve. How? With this thing of the name of Rama and his great total surrender to his this thing, and that is why that is the kind of a way to advise to us. If we also have that bhakti, we can also have that great Shakti. The Shaktiman only because he was bhakti alone. That must be the basic thing. Did you want to comment on that? Yeah.
No. Actually, I have a question and thank you so much for this beautiful explanation. Is it the spirit of yajna? Do you feel it is fully applicable even in the business and the corporate world, or is that the person who is alone living in that spirit of yajna will be at a losing end because maybe considered as too naive or too easy to be sidelined, something like that?
No. A yogi is a yogi. Karmasu kaushalam is what he says. A person who does, yoga and yajna, whatever, karmasu kaushalam, he is an adept in action. Adept. Because what is he? He's uniting himself. You are plugging yourself to that cosmic energy. So the whole energy of the cosmos goes through the yogi. He is not an ordinary human being using his ordinary human intellect. He is making use of the cosmic intellect. Therefore, he is an adept. Yoga karmasu kaushalam, he says.
Mataji, his question is in the context of the corporate world.
A corporate world also.
That's his question.
What is different? Do not make Hinduism. There has never been a differentiation between sacred and secular. We make that this thing. Everything is sacred. Everything is divine. Why do you make this corporate world? What are they made up of? The divinity working in these different forms. The divinity works in the Rakshasa as well as the Kujela as well as Kamsa, isn't it? So don't make a differentiation. We make it because they are more rajasic. They are more very rajasic. But if you work on them with that attitude of that yogi, you are getting the greatest. You are not going to get some help from an ordinary human individual. You are getting that from the highest itself. You are plugging yourself to that 100 watts bulb or 1000 watt bulb. They are all only 100 watt bulbs. We are plugging to 1000 watt bulb energy. So we will definitely, there will be no problem with that.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Guruji, dear devotees of the Lord, anyone else got a question to ask?
Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Vajrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhave Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om Tat Sat. Every activity, Om Tat Sat. Very important. Remember that always. Okay? And that should be your Shraddha. That is the prasad of this today's talk. That Shraddha should be there that everything is divine. And I'm doing it for the divine, by the divine, for the instigated by the divine. That Shraddha should be all for the time. Anyway, thank you very much again and again. You called me here, which I'm very happy to see all of you. And may that grace be on all of you.